a huge burden when you take on these iconic superheroes because the fan base has such an expectation. But also, I imagine there's this real burden of all the other people in the Marvel Universe who've already played these superheroes. So the first time you met Robert Downey Jr., I guess that was the person you had to screen test with based on that was the first scene we saw you in, was with Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War. So what was it like meeting Robert Downey Jr. for the first time?
So I was in Atlanta for my first screen test. They told us 25 minutes before that Robert was going to come along and do the audition. Literally on cue, a helicopter flew down and Robert got out and came for his audition. And I was like, one day.
I was going to say.
One day. But yeah, so I go into this room to do the audition and I see Robert Downey Jr. I go up to him, I shake his hand, nice to meet you, and I'm starting to panic, right? I'm like, oh my God, it's Robert Downey Jr. And I'm looking at him in the face, sort of going, there's something different about you in person. Do they do something to your face on camera? Like, you don't look the same. And then Robert then walked in. And I realized I've been talking to his stunt double the whole time. So I got my, nervous, jittery stuff out of the way with Glenn and then met Robert afterwards.
Oh, my God. No, now, you had a role previous to Spider-Man, which I've heard you say was actually very helpful. You played Billy Elliot in London.
Yes, I did.
On stage. And was that helpful to Spider-Man? Was the physicality of that part helpful in this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, dancing is a really good way of controlling your physicality. And playing a character like Spider-Man, he is probably the most physical character you could ever play. So every day, I was having to land in poses. The amount of times I pulled my groin on this movie is ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, my gymnastics background was the most helpful thing. But the funny thing is the director got too excited at times. It was like, Tom, can you climb up that wall and then do a double backflip off here onto there? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not an Olympian. Like, I have a basic gymnastics background.
Well, that's the thing. In Hollywood, if you have a little bit of skill at anything that's not acting, you have so much more than everybody around you.
Yeah.